Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, Tim Cook rewrites Apple's future, Uber accidentally blows a year's worth of cash on AI, and the political map is literally being redrawn.
I mean, it's just a massive news cycle today, but if you look really closely at the data we've pulled across tech, politics, and culture, there is a very clear theme emerging.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are completely obsessed with the illusion of control. Like, we think we're steering the ship, but the underlying mechanics, the second-order effects no one is paying attention to, are actually the things pulling the strings.
Which is exactly the mission of this deep dive. I mean, we're
Yes.
taking a raw feed of today's viral market and culture data,
Yeah.
looking past those surface-level headlines, and really analyzing the mechanics of what is actually happening.
Right, getting into the gears of it.
Exactly. We want to give you the context to understand how these shifts impact your work, your investments, and your feed. So let's jump right into the lead story, which is this massive changing of the guard.
Yeah, big day for tech.
It's huge. If you were online today, you saw the post from the @Tim_Cook handle. After 15 years as CEO, Tim Cook is stepping down. He's moving to executive chairman on September 1st, 2026.
End of an era, really.
It really is.
Yeah.
And John Turnus, who is a 25-year Apple veteran and their current senior VP of hardware engineering, is officially taking over. And the market consensus seems, very relaxed about this.
Super relaxed.
Right. There's this sunny, smiling photo of the two of them walking together at Apple Park. Just very smooth transition vibes.
Well, yeah, but that photo at Apple Park is a highly curated piece of corporate psychology. I mean, it's designed to make you feel safe as an investor. But if we're actually looking at the underlying mechanics here, the timing and the specific personnel choice should make you pause.
Okay, why?
Because Cook was famously the master of operations, right? The supply chain genius.
Right.
Turnus is fundamentally a hardware engineer. By handing the keys to Turnus, Apple is doubling down on atoms over bytes, right in the middle of this existential software supercycle. I mean, every other major tech player on Earth is pivoting their entire corporate structure to prioritize AI cloud compute.
Wait, I have to push back on that because I'm genuinely confused by this move. I mean, software is eating the world. We are fighting a massive AI intelligence war right now.
We are.
So why on earth would Apple hand the keys to a guy whose entire career is building like aluminum and glass boxes? Aren't they fighting the wrong war?
Well, think about the second-order effect of the AI boom, right? The AI models themselves are rapidly becoming commoditized.
Right.
Everyone is eventually going to have a brilliant, fast, responsive AI model. What they won't have is the physical toll booth where you actually interact with it.
Oh, wow.
Right. Apple's underlying strategy here is that the ultimate winner in the AI race isn't necessarily the company with the smartest cloud model. It's the company that controls the physical endpoint.
The actual phone in your hand.
Exactly. Turnus knows how to build the device in your pocket. Apple is betting that if they control the hardware, they can charge a massive premium to any software company that wants access to your attention.
So the moat isn't the intelligence. The moat is the physical toll booth. You want to talk to the super intelligent cloud? Well, you have to pay the toll to the guy holding the phone.
That's the bet.
But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Maybe Apple is staying out of the AI software war because right now, that war is actively bankrupting the people fighting it.
It is causing absolute financial chaos.
We have to look at this data coming out of at Polymarket today. They are reporting that Uber has blown through its entire 2026 AI budget.
It's unbelievable.
We are in April. They drained 12 months of cash in 4 months because they encouraged their 5,000 engineers to aggressively adopt autonomous coding tools like Anthropic's Claude Code.
Just burned right through it.
Walk me through how a tech giant accidentally sets fire to its own budget like this.
Well, this comes down to a fundamental misunderstanding of token-based API pricing. Look, everyone in your feed is praising the productivity gains of AI agents, but no one is explaining the billing structure. When you use a standard cloud service, you pay for storage or uptime.
Right, just a flat rate or whatever.
Exactly. But when you use an AI coding agent, you pay per token, which is roughly a piece of a word. And these agents don't just write a line of code and stop. They operate in what are called agentic loops.
Meaning they're like working autonomously in the background.
Correct. Let's say an Uber engineer tells the AI to fix a bug in a massive application. The AI has to read the entire 50,000-line code base, just to understand the context.
Which costs tokens.
Which costs tokens. Then it writes a fix. Then it runs a test. If the test fails, the AI loops back, rereads the entire 50,000-line code base to refresh its memory, and tries again.
Oh, my God.
And it might do this 100 times in a minute while the human engineer is away getting coffee. You are burning exponential cash on compute every single second it fails.
The numbers in the report are just staggering. I mean, Uber's CTO noted they had 95% monthly adoption of these tools. They're seeing per engineer API costs ranging from $500 to $2,000 a month.
Per engineer.
Per engineer. And 11% of their live code updates are now AI generated. But if that AI is just brute forcing its way through errors by burning tokens, I mean, is that actual efficiency? Or are they just paying a massive premium to generate technical debt?
I mean, that is the trillion-dollar question for anyone running a tech company today. You are automating the creation of code, yes, but you are also automating the spending of your budget.
Wow.
The industry thought they had control over these systems, but the systems are literally spending money faster than the accounting departments can track it.
Which makes sense why we are seeing immediate countermeasures popping up today to try and, regain that control. There's a post at Stitch by Google. They just announced they're open sourcing a framework called design.md.
Right, I saw that.
The goal is to standardize visual rules so AI agents don't drift and, hallucinate bad designs that just waste time. It forces the AI to validate its work against standard web accessibility rules, the WCK guidelines.
To keep it on track.
Yeah, so humans don't have to go back and fix broken, inaccessible websites. And then at OpenAI devs just dropped a tool called Euphony to visualize complex codex logs.
Which is much needed.
Yeah, they're essentially the black box chat histories of what the AI was actually doing.
See, tools like design.md and Euphony are essentially leashes. The tech industry has realized that giving an autonomous AI access to your code base is, well, it's like giving a toddler a paintbrush and a blank check.
That's a great way to put it.
You need standardized formats and visual logs just to understand what the AI did, why it did it, and crucially, how much it cost you while doing it. It's a desperate attempt to build institutional wrappers around chaotic software.
But just when you think they might be getting a handle on the software security, reality comes crashing back in. Look at this post from @JoshKale regarding Anthropic's unreleased Mythos AI.
This story is wild.
It is. This was heavily PR'd as their most advanced model. It was literally marketed as too dangerous to release, and yet it was breached on day one.
Yep.
I need you to explain this to me, because it wasn't some sophisticated nation-state zero-day exploit. It was 4 random guys in a Discord. How did they get in?
They bypass the security through basic web routing.
Wait, what does that mean?
So software companies often use standard naming conventions for the hidden web addresses where they test things. The guys in the Discord simply looked at the URL structure of a previous Anthropic leak.
Oh, no.
They guessed the sequential name of the new testing endpoint, typed that URL into a browser, and gained direct access to the supposedly dangerous AI.
Are you serious? So it's like they built an impenetrable trillion-dollar titanium fortress, but they left the backdoor address listed as Fortress Door Number 2 on Google Maps, just because that's what they named the last one.
That is the perfect analogy. The neural network itself might be incredibly advanced, the titanium fortress, but the human institutional wrapper built around it, the web routing, was essentially a screen door.
That's embarrassing.
It completely undercuts the mystique of the AI industry. We are sold this narrative of super intelligent systems guarded by elite alignment researchers, and the operational security was defeated by URL guessing.
It is the ultimate illusion of control. We can't even lock the front door to our own servers, which is a fascinating pivot point, because while the software world is dealing with infinite loops, blown budgets, and guessed passwords, the hard physical world, the engineering of actual atoms, is making these undeniable, mathematically precise leaps forward.
Real, tangible progress.
Yes. Let's look at the data from @SawyerMerit today. CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer, just unveiled their 3rd-generation Shenzhen battery. It charges from 10% to 80% in 3 minutes and 44 seconds.
Which is mind-blowing. The underlying chemistry here is what matters. This is an LFP battery lithium iron phosphate.
Okay.
Historically, LFP was the cheap, durable option, but you sacrifice speed and cold weather performance compared to premium nickel batteries. What CATL has done is engineer the internal resistance down to just 0.25 million.
Okay, stop right there because I see stats like 0.25 millions in tech feeds all the time, and I guarantee most people just gloss over it. Why do I care about a million?
You care because of heat.
Heat!
Yeah, when you shove electricity into a battery really quickly to fast charge it, any internal resistance creates massive amounts of heat. If the resistance is high, the battery catches fire or just degrades immediately.
Right, which we've seen happen.
Exactly. By functionally removing that internal resistance, CATL can pump a massive fire hose of power into the car without melting the battery. It is an extraordinary feat of physical chemistry.
So it's fundamentally a plumbing problem. They widen the pipe so much that they can fill the tank in 3 minutes, and they can even recharge it in 9 minutes at negative 30 degrees Celsius. Who gets hurt by this?
Well, the collateral damage hits two massive industries. Obviously, it threatens the remaining internal combustion engine market because a sub-4-minute charge time means range anxiety is functionally dead.
Right, you just pull over like a gas station.
Exactly. But more importantly, it threatens premium EV battery competitors. If the cheap, affordable chemistry now performs this well, the business model for expensive high-end batteries collapses entirely.
They've completely mastered the physics, and you see that same mastery extending all the way into orbit. At NASA posted an update on SpaceX's 34th resupply mission to the International Space Station set for May 12th.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, they are sending a Dragon spacecraft carrying 5,000 pounds of cargo, including these wild wood-based bone scaffolds to study osteoporosis in microgravity.
Notice the engagement numbers on that post, though, relative to the drama in the AI space.
Yeah, it was pretty low.
We have a commercial entity routinely launching 5,000 pounds of highly sensitive biological experiments into low Earth orbit, autonomously docking with a space station traveling 17,000 miles an hour. And the public reaction is essentially a yawn.
Just another Tuesday.
Right. It has become routine logistics. We have mastered the physics of spaceflight to the point where it is viewed as boring.
It's true. When the physics work perfectly, it fades into the background. But when we look back down at Earth at the mechanics of human institutions and political systems, things are fracturing.
Our physical tech is pristine, but our social tech is under severe structural stress.
Exactly. And we have two major examples of this in the feed today. Let's walk through these strictly looking at the legal and mathematical mechanics. Okay. First, at a TruePar posted that Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and FBI Director Kash Patel announced an 11-count federal indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center, or SPLC.
Right.
The charges include wire fraud, bank fraud, and money laundering. The specific allegation is that the organization paid over $3 million to informants linked to extremist groups, including the KKK. Now, we must emphasize the strict legal reality here. An indictment is an allegation.
Important distinction.
Very. It is absolutely not a conviction.
Right.
These are charges from a grand jury that require definitive proof at trial, and the accused is presumed innocent.
Absolutely. And if we impartially dissect the structural fallout of an event like this, we're really looking at the mechanics of trust. Well, the SPLC is a high-profile watchdog organization. If the federal government formally accuses a watchdog of financially fueling the exact extremists it publicly opposes, allegedly to drive its own fundraising metrics, the second-order effect is a catastrophic collapse of institutional faith across the board.
Right.
Regardless of how the trial ultimately concludes, the mere existence of the indictment injects a massive amount of cynicism into the entire nonprofit ecosystem. The public immediately begins to question the underlying incentives of every institution claiming to protect them.
It shatters the illusion that these institutions are simply functioning as intended. And, speaking of manipulating structures for a desired outcome, we are seeing the literal political map being redrawn through sheer data mechanics.
A Virginia story.
Yes. At Geiger_Capital highlighted the aftermath of Virginia's redistricting referendum today. The referendum narrowly passed, allowing the Democratic-led legislature to enact a new congressional map. They are shifting the state's delegation from what was 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans to a projected 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. And to put that in context, Kamala Harris won Virginia in 2024 by roughly 5 points. How do you take a 5-point statewide margin and turn it into a 90% seat advantage? Walk me through the math of that.
It's an algorithmic process called packing and cracking. And to be clear, both major political parties use these mechanics when they have the power to do so. Republicans have executed similar maps in states like Indiana.
Right, it's a structural tool.
Exactly. The mechanism relies on modern hyper-specific voter data. First, the map makers take the opposition voters and pack them into a single district, ensuring the opposition wins that one seat by an overwhelming, 90% margin.
Okay.
Then they take the remaining opposition voters and crack them, spreading them so thin across the other 10 districts that they are mathematically guaranteed to lose every single race by 2 or 3 points.
So it isn't about persuading voters at all. It's just about arranging them perfectly on a spreadsheet.
Yes. The brutal efficiency of the margin shift highlights the deep polarization of the system. The technology available to mapmakers today allows for a level of entrenchment that removes competitive races from the board entirely.
That's wild.
The voters feel like they are participating in a fluid democratic process, but the outcome was locked in by a data scientist months in advance.
We want to believe we have control over the system, but the structure was engineered to guarantee a specific outcome. It really feels like people are deeply drawn to narratives that confirm their biases, Which brings us perfectly to our final topic today, the psychology of success and the stories we desperately want to believe about how people make it to the top.
Oh, this one is fascinating.
It is. There's a post from @MattyGlicius critiquing this viral chart floating around LinkedIn and X. The chart lists the backgrounds of S&P 500 CEOs, and it claims the #1 background is no bachelor's degree, citing 15 specific CEOs. People are sharing this everywhere with the caption, "See, college is a scam. You don't need it."
As an analyst, looking at that chart is infuriating because it's a textbook example of the base rate fallacy.
Okay, break that down for us.
The chart highlights the 15 CEOs without a degree. What it utterly fails to mention is that 485 out of the 500 CEOs do have degrees.
Oh, wow.
Right. And if you dig into the actual data, those degrees heavily favor elite exclusive institutions like Penn, Harvard, and Michigan. Furthermore, it completely ignores the context of those 15 dropouts.
They aren't just like regular dropouts.
No, they are rarely people who simply skipped higher education. They're almost always individuals like Mark Zuckerberg, who gained entry to an elite institution, built an incredibly valuable network, and only dropped out because their specific company was already generating massive revenue.
I see charts like this on my feed constantly. If the statistics are so obviously mechanically flawed, why does it go so viral?
Because the base rate reality is depressing and society desperately wants to believe the comforting myth. If the secret to success is just raw grit and ignoring the establishment, well, then you're in control. Anyone can do it from anywhere. But if the statistical reality is that success is heavily correlated with gaining entry to exclusive institutions at age 18, that implies a rigid structure where you lack control.
And people hate that.
People will always smash the retweet button on a comforting myth over a harsh statistical reality.
But this is where the research gets incredibly surprising. What if believing those comforting myths, like what if lying to yourself about the odds, is actually a prerequisite for high-level success?
This is the twist.
Yeah. There is a brilliant counterpost in the feed today from a science writer at NT Fabiano. He pulls up a peer-reviewed psychology paper from 1988 by researchers Taylor and Brown titled Illusion and Well-Being.
Great paper.
The paper argues that mentally healthy, highly successful people are actually characterized by what they call delusional optimism. They have overly positive views of themselves and highly exaggerated perceptions of how much control they have over the world.
That paper completely synthesizes everything we've analyzed today. The clinical research shows that depressed individuals often perceive the world accurately.
Wait, really?
Yes. They accurately assess the incredibly slim odds of success, they see the structural barriers, they see the actual base rates. But successful people have to rely on positive illusions. Delusional optimism acts as a psychological buffer against impossible odds. You cannot achieve outlier success if you accurately calculate how likely you are to fail.
You literally have to be a little bit delusional to change the world.
Exactly.
It's the only way you can wake up and decide to overthrow the internal combustion engine with a 3-minute battery, or trust an autonomous AI agent to rewrite your company's core product, or step up to run a multi-trillion-dollar hardware empire at Apple. The illusion of control is the required fuel for innovation.
And speaking of trusting autonomous AI to run your company, I will leave you with a very specific prediction for tomorrow based on today's data.
Let's hear it.
Given the absolute blowout of Uber's budget on Claude Code tokens, Watch for major cloud providers to urgently announce new AI token rationing dashboards in the next 24
Oh,
hours.
they have to.
They're going to have to build emergency brakes into their systems to prevent developers from accidentally bankrupting their own companies by leaving an agentic coding loop running over the weekend. The illusion of control is great for human psychology, but it is disastrous for corporate accounting.
A highly probable second-order effect, and exactly why we do this analysis. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Vibecasting. Before tomorrow's data drops, remember to question the consensus on your feed. Look for the base rates, look for the hidden mechanics, and check if you're staring at the titanium vault while the master key is sitting quietly under the plastic rock. We'll see you next time.